everyone, and welcome to the 2025-2026 season. I am your commissioner. I am Mr. Modest. I am your champion. Holds up trophy for dramatic effect. I am joined today by Joel Gibson. I hope he's actually on the screen for some reason. It looks a little skew. So, Joel, if you're skew, I apologize, but how you doing today?
As you were holding up the championship, the trophy, I was holding up my middle finger for dramatic effect. So, I'm doing just fine.
All right, well, let's hope that's on the video because we all know that that's very vital information. This is the Week 14 review, Week 15 preview. Joel, only 2 weeks left in the regular season. Where has this season gone? I swear we wait for it all summer, and it just totally disappears on us so quickly.
I know. Trade deadline is coming past.
So many early trades
are right around the corner.
So many early trades before the deadline this year, but I think we talked about that last week, didn't we? I'm getting my weeks all fucked up. Okay, well, let's just get right into it. We'll start off with the champs matchup. I was very nervous this week, Joel Gibson, as I played Adam. Adam is a competitive team, I'll say that. I have been without Joker and Reeves for a long time. I had to use Gillespie and Clowney's long-term rookie reserve eligibility this week, which has been kind of some aces in the hole, but I get the cycling done. I get it with just enough money to spare, and I get the victory, and a big one for me this week, I'll say that.
Yeah, winning 9-3. It wasn't super close.
It would have been far closer. It would have been far closer, and I apologize for cutting you off, if those postponements didn't happen today. Like, Adam got screwed. I think he lost 4 plays today, where I only lost 1 because of the canceled games. He might have even lost 5. I can't remember. But I only lost Miles Turner, who, thank God, had a 6-block game for me this week. He is still alive there in Milwaukee, if anybody's wondering. But I think it would have been a little bit more competitive. Levine also sat today. And it was close there for a while, and some of those categories were getting very close. I got nervous when Booker went down. He's now out for a week. Story of my life.
Yeah, quit your bitching. Good win for you. Adam was healthy, but just couldn't get it done this week. Well, mostly healthy. He hasn't had Kessler for forever, and he's been holding on to Dalton Connect for God knows what reason.
Yeah, well, he's on his long term, so, I mean, he can do whatever he wants, I guess, with that spot.
I mean, if he wants, like, a long-term Landry Shamet type person.
Fair enough. Adam moves to 7-7. I moved to 13-1. Next matchup is CJ losing to Doug. Again, Doug just continues to cruise. I feel like we talk about this every week. He has the most free agency money in the league, I believe. Because Neiman paid down. I can't think of anybody that might have more. But anyway, he has quite a bit. He didn't do any trades at the deadline, so I'm interested to see how that goes for Doug. CJ made a lot of trades at the deadline. Jimmy going down hurts CJ a lot. I think that's going to be a very big loss for him. The ACL is a real problem, especially when CJ can't add to fill the spot. He can play everybody. He has 17 players. But I don't think he's going to be competitive in the playoffs unless all of a sudden everybody's healthy. I mean, AD has to get healthy. There's a lot of things that go into it. I think that this is the beginning of the end for CJ if it hasn't been already. But shout out to Doug for the win.
Good win for Doug. CJ is in this spot where he's got like a 2 to 3 year window, and that might be generous, where some of these guys could deliver him a championship if they were all healthy. But I don't know that we will ever see a time where they are all.
Yeah.
If they are ever all healthy, then look fucking out. This is also a team that if it were like 2015 or like maybe 2018, we would all be fucked.
Yeah, I agree, and maybe that's why his team is called Hope and Pray. Very fitting. Yeah, it's just a rough spot. Next matchup is Eric taking care of Neiman. Neiman is tanking. He's trying his best to get down into that loser's consolation bracket. I don't think that he's going to get there, but Matt in the next matchup took a step in the right direction, Joel Gibson. What do you have to say for yourself? This one hurts.
Yeah, this one does hurt. But I sent you a list of players that missed games this week, and it is extensive.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, Jalen Suggs, Kason Wallace, Franz Wagner, Cooper Flagg, Derek Lively, Kel Elware, Darius Garland. I think OG Anunoby missed a game. Halliburton, Kyrie Irving, and Sorber, of course. That's 10 plus players that missed time this week. Mm-hmm. But Matt is not a good team. That said, he doesn't have his pick, and he has some free agent money to play with, so he came to play. I did not take the bait, and I am saving my money for when the playoffs come and someone drops someone valuable. Whatever happens this year is the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. Good win for Matthew. I'm still going to be a force in the playoffs, I think.
We will certainly see. Yeah, that one's a bummer. Matt is just clawing, hoping that there's a chance at the end. He plays Kyle this week, and boy, I've never wanted Matt to win more in my entire life. We'll get there, but the last matchup was Kyle taking care of Jake. Jake is tanking. If he loses these next 2 weeks, he's guaranteed a top 2 pick. Which is huge. He also has Matt's pick. So should Matt stay in the consolation, Matt versus Cody is going to be extremely huge as far as picks go. We'll see about Steven because he still can play. I think that Steven did pay down some players, so he doesn't have a lot of free agency money, but he has more than I think any of those other 3 players. So that consolation bracket.
Also, Jake has my pick, so he should be sending Matt a thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole spot because I mean we talked about it just before we came on. You have the tiebreaker over CJ, and we'll get as we look into next week. There are 3 teams that are tied at 8 and 6. It's you, CJ, and Eric. Eric and CJ tied their head-to-head. So it'll come down to divisional, and if we need it, it'll get to points. But you do have the tiebreaker over CJ. So Jake has to be hoping that you get one more loss or CJ gets one more win than you. And looking at the schedule, this week might be the week that happens. As I said, we'll get into it. First one is kind of boring. Modest 13-1 versus Jake. Jake's not going to play anybody. I am so thankful. Booker's out this week. Jay Will should be getting healthy at the end of this week. Reeves should be back this week. Joker might be back at the end of this week. So I'm very excited that I have this week off. I beat Adam. I'm setting myself up exactly where I want to be right now, outside of that one loss. But everything is going exactly how I want to go. I have myself ranked as the number 2 right now. I do want to clarify that over the past couple weeks, I've been saying that I'm guaranteed a top 2 pick. Top 2 position in the playoffs. That's not true. We have to remember that divisional winners get the top 2 seeds. So technically right now, Doug is the number 2 seed. I am the number 3 seed. But as far as power rankings go, I'm going to keep it that way. As far as keeping me at number 2, just because Kyle and I are tied and we're neck and neck. You know what I mean? So until something like that changes, just keep in mind that technically Doug is the 2 seed as the top in the West. Wow, that's weird for me to say. And Kyle or I will be the number 1 seed as top of the East. Joel, who you picking for me versus Jake?
I am picking you. Don't think Jake is playing anybody, so it should be an easy one for you this week.
Absolutely. Next matchup of the week, in my opinion, we have number 6 Joel against number 7 Adam. Joel 8-6, Adam 7-7. Adam's way healthier than Joel is. I'm taking Adam with the win here. I also want to point out that Adam was active on the wire this week. I did call him out in the messenger as well, and he missed. But I don't think he misses this week. I think he beats Joel, and I think that Jake is going to like what's happening the next 2 weeks unless Joel can get healthy real quick.
Yeah, I also am not picking myself this week. This team just can't get healthy this year. I wish I had held on to my pick, but that's just not the case. So Adam is going to beat me this week. Hopefully, I take these 2 weeks to get healthy and can be a spoiler in the playoffs.
Yeah, there's a real chance, and this has got to be like Jake's wet dream, right? If, theoretically, let's just say Neiman stays in the 8th spot, and you fall to the 7th spot, Jake will have 3 top 6 picks. 3 of the top 6. That is extremely beneficial. Of course, we're a little top heavy again in this draft this year, but you never know. I mean, there are players, for example, Kyle, who took Queen, towards the end of the draft. You can really hit late if you're paying attention. So Jake, 3 out of the top 6. I like those odds. Joe, anything else from you on you and Adam?
Good luck, Adam.
All right, next matchup is the matchup that it makes things a little bit more interesting as far as the consolation goes. It is Kyle versus Matt. Now, Kyle plays Matt and Cody the last 2 weeks, I believe. Looking at the schedule, Kyle played Jake last week. You would have been excited. These are 3 of the bottom 4 teams, and I'm hearing rumblings in the messenger that Cody is also going to start setting his lineups to see what he can do against Doug and Kyle. This has all of a sudden turned into an interesting position for Kyle. I believe he only has 10 free agency dollars left. He's holding the number 1 seed, but he's got to have that free agency money for playoffs or it'll all be for naught. You've got Matt and Cody who could theoretically cycle him out. I'm going to take Matt to win this week. I think Matt could run a double cycle, and he needs it to make it to the playoffs. And for some reason, he's all guns blazing to get into the playoffs. I like the upset here. Going Matt.
Matt doesn't have his pick, so there's no reason for him to tank. I think we should put that out there.
Yep.
Looking at Bill's team, there are flags to Aldama. There are flags to Murray Boyles and Tatum, obviously. Not a lot of flags. The cycle is definitely interesting. Kyle has the better team, but if Matt runs a double cycle, it will put him in a tough position. I'm going to pick Kyle, but I hope Matt sticks it to him.
I also want to run one more thing against you before we passed you. Before we started shooting, I did check the standings here. And another important thing about Kyle and his free agency money. Kyle and I are within 150 points of each other. So so missed games are going to be big if I can get healthy. It could come down to points for who gets the number 1 seed, and that's even if he wins both of these games coming up. I play Eric at the end, who no longer has Greek, so I think that I'm in a very good position. I would say I'm in the driver's seat at this point, even though technically Kyle is in the 1 spot right now. But just also something to pay attention to. I think Kyle's decision whether or not to cycle this week, whether or not to cycle against Cody and just play him straight up. Man, it's interesting that Cody could cost Kyle the number 1 seed after trading him Tatum. There's so many moving parts to this whole thing that I think the last week of the season is going to be very interesting. But yeah, good luck to Matt this week. I've never wanted him to win more in my whole life. I said that to you off screen as well. Next matchup is Doug versus Cody. We alluded to this. There's rumblings that Cody is going to try to take on Doug, see if he can maybe force a cycle out of Doug. I don't know. The thing is, even if Doug loses this matchup, even if he loses the next two matchups, he has clinched the 2 seed. Yeah, there's no way that you guys could catch him. He has 11 wins. The next closest could get a max of 10. So Doug is the 2 seed. Congratulations to Doug. There isn't a possibility that he would catch Kyle or I for the 1 seed, no matter how that shakes out. So I'm interested to see what Cody does here, or if Doug even gives a shit. He has a ton of free agency money. So Cody might pick up a win here. I don't know. I'm going to say Cody because Doug has nothing to lose.
It is really interesting. I'm going through the teams right now. Denny and Kaminga with flags on Doug's team. Anybody else? Koulibaly and Mitchell as well. And then obviously Cam Johnson and Jakob. That's a decent amount of flags. That was 4 or 5 flags. I am gonna pick Cody if he's gonna cycle. Because if I'm Doug, I'm holding my fire.
Yep.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you've already guaranteed, you can't go up and you can't go down. So there's no real incentive for him to go heavy at it. So we'll see how it goes. Next matchup is CJ. Now, CJ's going to pick up this win against Neiman because Neiman's not playing anybody. And this is what I alluded to earlier. Joel, there's a realistic possibility that you fall the whole way to 6. Actually, you'll fall the whole way to 7 because Adam will beat you this week to move up into 6th. And all of a sudden, I can hear Jake getting excited over here. You could really wind up as the 7 and facing Doug first round.
That would not be my first choice, to be honest.
It's ugly. It's an ugly spot for you, but you're holding all your free agency money. Don't worry about it. You're fine, bro. All right, last matchup, and this is also going to make you extremely happy. Steven, who's not playing anybody, versus Eric, the third 8-6 team. So both CJ and Eric theoretically are going to pick up the wins here. If you lose to Adam, you'll be in that 7 spot, and it'll come down to a must win. And I don't know who you play the last week, but it'll be a must win for Joel to avoid Doug.
I believe. Well, it's Neiman.
It's Neiman. Okay. All right. So then that'll make it even more interesting because we're going to come down to ties here, especially if Adam, CJ, and Eric. Well, Eric won't. Wow, this is crazy because I play Eric the last week. So you might get lucky and have to play either Kyle or I in the first round instead of Doug. Right now it would be me. So I bet you'd love that matchup more than Doug, right? I mean, that's definitely going to be an easier matchup for you.
I mean, I'm ready for whatever challenger.
I'm ready for Joel not to make it out of the first round again this year. That's what I'm ready for.
Hey, this is still, I mean, last year I wasn't even in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying.
The most improved team in the league.
It has been a rough, last 3 years? You didn't make out the first round 3 years ago, did you? 3 years ago.
3 years ago? Yeah, I think that was when the injury bug came for me and I decided to blow it all up.
Yeah, and do you remember who beat you in the playoffs? And who you've never beaten in the playoffs ever? Do you remember who that was?
I've never beaten you in the playoffs. Is that a fact?
That's a fact. That's a fact, Jack.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, we can look it up, but
I'm pretty sure it's not 100% sure, sir.
I'll have to look it
We've
up.
been doing this thing a long time.
Yeah, that's true. I will have to look it up, but we haven't played each other very much in the playoffs. Like we barely play each other in the regular season. You know what I mean? So I will have to look it up, but I don't think you've ever beat me in the playoffs, or was it?
The ESPN records are no longer available, right?
I still have the login, but now that you mention it, I think that we have played each other 3 times in the playoffs, and last year was the tiebreaker, or 2 years ago was the tiebreaker, because I made a big deal out of it. That I can actually look up. Oh, and I also have my giant stacks of paper from seasons past as well. But that I could actually look up if I look at the playoff videos from 2 years ago. So I might have to do that, but I think you're right. I think you have beaten me once, and I've beaten you twice.
This is the content that people stay for.
Exactly. Well, if you've made it this far,
how many minutes deep we're in?
We're just about at 21. We're right on pace, baby. And as we get closer to the end, we normally stretch out to like 25. These we still got 4 minutes of buffering to go.
I got 2% battery, so we ain't making it that far.
All right. Well, anything else from you this week, Joel Gibson?
It's been a fun season. It's not over yet, but it's been fun.
It's absolutely been fun. Kyle, I'm coming for you in points, and I hope that Matt and Cody are coming for you in general. I want that 1 seed. Go Modest. Long live the king. See you guys.